The rain is pouring, I'll drive out to the forest, 'cause I can't ignore it there. I'll get there by morning, give my heart a warning, 'cause I can't ignore it there. That I should probably let you go, but I still need to let you know that I think the world of you. Oh, I should probably let you go, but I still need to let you know that I think the world of you. Oh, I got lost in my blind spot. I got lost in my blind spot. I swear I gave it my best shot, but I got lost in my blind spot. Oh, 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 I'm terrified to lose you, but I don't really have you, so I don't know what to do. I climbed up too high on this hillside in my mind. It's a long way down. Oh, I don't wanna hit the ground. I don't wanna hit the ground. I don't wanna hit the ground without you. I don't wanna hit the ground. I don't wanna hit the ground. I don't wanna hit the ground without you. But I got lost in my blind spot. I got lost in my blind spot. I swear I gave it my best shot. I got lost in my blind spot. Oh, oh, I should probably let you go, but I still need to let you know that I think the world of you. Oh, I should probably let you go, but I still need to let you know that I think the world of you. Oh, I got lost in my blind spot. I got lost in my blind spot. I swear I gave it my best shot. I got lost in my blind spot. I swear I gave it my best shot. I got lost in my blind spot.
Hello and welcome to the stream. Yes, Bessie Gray, it's makeup. It's Friday morning here in Pueblo, Colorado. And I feel like a good day to talk about identity and all that fun stuff. And this music almost matches the mood, but misses it by like 180 degrees. I think I like the energy that comes off when I go live for some reason. Because even though I've not been able to make any videos the whole month of April, I've actually been able to stream on a pretty consistent basis, like every Friday, 9:30, 9:40-ish. We've been here making the videos and doing what we can. So it feels pretty good to be here. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. We have 1 hour ahead of us. I have work today, as you probably know if you've been watching the stream. My work schedule changed, which is part of the reason why we're having this conversation today. It's that. So let me know if the music is supposed to be chill pop, but for some reason I'm hearing vocals. I guess I don't know what chill pop means, do I? Let's see. What do we have here? I'm hoping we can settle in. Grab your cup of coffee or tea or water if you're too lazy to make tea like me, or if you just think that water is better than tea. What is better, tea or water? Or wata? Because that's how we say it in Cameroon. In America, we say water. It's good to be here. Hey, hey, welcome. Liz said hello. Let me fix this here. Bessie said hello. Oh, that was me. Why am I pointing my own link? Yeah. Same here, especially if the audience is interactive. Yeah, right. I like going live. I like it. I've not been able to make videos, as we'll discover in the video why I've not been able to make videos, but I really enjoy going live, you know? Clive, welcome, my friend. I hope you've been able to sort out the whole YouTube situation. Yes? No? Maybe? Monsieur Christian Cedric, the MVP of the Friday streams. If Christian Cedric doesn't show up, it means that something is happening. I mean, like all of you, of course. It doesn't just mean him. Versus you people start leaving and it'll be like one person watching. But yeah. Water any day, anytime. Yes. You know, in America it says water. In the UK it's water. I hope that's like a terrible impersonation of British English. Water or something. But it's H2O. No, H to the 2 to the O. But yeah, today we'll talk about identity because I'm going through a weird... No, the word is not weird. I'm going through this interesting phase where I am embracing a lot of the things that I thought were not entirely true about me. What does that mean? First of all, let me know. Let me do it like a short poll in the comment section as you're watching. Do you believe, maybe the word is not believe, do you think personality tests, particularly the Myers-Briggs, the MBT, I think it's MBTI, I don't even know, that's how much I don't know about it. Do you think those tests are true, that they actually reflect your personality? I'm curious, and there's a reason why I'm asking this question. So let me know in the comment section, do you think that personality tests like the Myers-Briggs type index, I hope that has a meaning, are correct or accurate? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Ooh, Mr. Kisonsaji says entirely accurate regarding my results. What is your type? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, of course I'll share mine. You know, let me start with mine actually. Actually, no, you share yours. So like maybe we'll find out that we're actually the same. Who knows? Probably not. I feel like we're quite different. But yeah, what's your type? And why do you think it's? You said, well, you think it's accurate, especially regarding your results, which means that it's probably because you found a lot of the attributes, you know, tying with yours. I just realized that my camera is not, it's not symmetrical. I need to fix this. Voila, feel much better now. Yes, I can get a little bit like that sometimes. So for anybody who is joining us right now, which is probably everybody who has been here already, the question that I asked, which Monsieur Christian Setigbo responded to, is do you think the Myers-Briggs type index, let me find out what that MBTI stands for because I don't want to. It stands for Myers-Briggs type indicator. Yes, not index, indicator. I don't know why am I going to indicator. INFJ. Okay. I'm still dabbling in that world. I have a friend who is very, he actually has a channel where he literally analyzes people based on their content and tries to estimate which type they are. And he's pretty good. Like he's really good. So he once told me that I used to think I was INTP, but it looks like I'm actually INFP. And it's surprising me that I'm even using these phrases right now. So it's like I'm still trying to understand the things, but I've seen too many indicators, too much evidence basically that this is my type. What is this? So yeah, and I know at least for the IN type, was it? It's such a gray area in my mind because I don't know much about this. So it's just one of those, I'm still discovering it. I spent like 2 days ago, I was in this rabbit hole trying to find out more about my type and trying to find out if I'm not my type. I was looking at evidence to show me that, okay, maybe I was just tripping. Maybe I was just thinking that I was, but I wasn't. But turns out I am more INFP than I want to accept. And I don't know if I'm actually excited about it or disappointed, because I used to think that I was special, that all these personality tests, they don't apply to me. I'm unique. And which I still think I'm still unique. I think everybody's unique in their own way. It's just one of those, like, I thought that I was beyond the reach, especially of the weaknesses of the type. So the reason why I made this stream today was really to talk about what happens. Like, how much is it about you? Like, when you know yourself, right? If you say you know who you are, at what point does that self-knowledge become too much knowledge to the point where it becomes detrimental? At what point does knowing yourself stop you from improving who you are? That's some of what we'll be bouncing around in this stream today, because what I realized for the month of April, which is why also ties into why I did not make any videos, was that I was stuck in a loop, like not in a loop, more like in my head, which is something about my personality type, about our rich internal world where we build these castles that are virtual. When I think about it, I just think about all the comments my dad used to make when I was younger, and it's like, yeah, it totally makes sense that I'm actually this personality type, because I used to do this thing where and even now I do it a lot, where it's like I don't live in reality. Like, I live in the possibility of things rather than what they actually are. And in a way, it's a good thing, to think about it could be possible. So if you're on a positive path, if you think about how things could be possibly good, then you can be optimistic. You can look at the future. You can plan ahead, expecting the good to happen. But then if you're on the negative side of things and you're thinking about how things could be possibly worse, it can become a very dark spiral that can lead to depression and eventual outcomes. So the conversation today is about, at what point do you stop or start taking this personality test seriously? And not just personality tests. Like when people tell you something like, I've noticed this thing about you, I've seen this thing about you, your behavior, your personality, I've noticed this thing. At what point does that become not good? I don't use the word bad. At what point do you cross the threshold where it's like, this is who I am, I'm not going to change, why bother? So that's what I'm trying to find out about today, because what happened this month was that I was stuck in my head and I had to make a decision. And I had to think about things. Okay. What just happened? We're back. I think did we blink? Did something just blink? Is it the universe telling me that I'm onto something nice? I don't know what happened here. Let me know if you can hear me, because something just happened and it seems like lost connection there for a bit. So let me know if you can still see me, hear me, or something. Yes. Can you still see me? Because I think we lost connection there for a few seconds. I thought something was wrong. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, Bessie. I was like, what just happened? This has never happened before. So let me elaborate my questions. The fact that I haven't even done my research on this thing shows how fast this thing hit me, because I'm still struggling to go through these questions myself, right? So the question is this: when do you know yourself too much? And I put too much in quotes because I guess there's a point where you need to know yourself, self-knowledge, self-awareness, all that good stuff about what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at, your weaknesses, your strengths. That's the initial part of the question, which is knowing yourself. I am assuming that it's a good thing to know yourself first. So the question is, at what point does it become too much? At what point does it become detrimental? At what point does knowing yourself become a hindrance to growth, improvement, basically thriving in life? That's the question. Does it make sense? Because it totally makes sense to me, but if it doesn't make sense to you, then then I'm wasting your time. At what point does knowing yourself become too much? At what point does self-knowledge, reading about these personality tests, taking these personality tests, finding out your personality type, and I mean, for people who don't even think that that's a thing, I guess they're already out of the question. Like, you don't want to bother answering the question. Like, well, if you don't think that you have a personality type, then why even bother finding out about it, right? So my question is to those who think that it's real, it works, and they want to be able to leverage it to improve themselves. So this question mark is what I usually send to people when they say something that doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, what? Let me check on YouTube if I'm actually connected to. Let me see. YouTube is fine. YouTube seems to be working perfectly fine. So we're good there. Today is a stream of all. Today's a stream of consciousness because I'm struggling to express something that I normally wouldn't until when I'm done, which is if I go back to like my personality type, we tend to stay in our heads until when we've figured out what we want to do and they will just go. So I'm in that middle phase of figuring out what it is. And I'm bringing it to the table because I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to get out of my head more. Let me put it out. I'm trying to get out of my head. Yeah. What happened to my light? Let me change this. ISO levels are supposed to be automatic. It's changing to what I don't like. It's gone dark. I don't like that. And put it to 800. Much better. All right. Great. You can see and hear me now. Good. Glad to hear that. So let me use an example to expand on this. This is probably one of the toughest streams I've had so far because I'm struggling to find out something that I've not even fully articulated. Like it makes total sense to me to think about these things, but I can see how, because I don't have enough information on these personality types and the subject at hand, I'm finding it hard to express myself, which is, for me, it's actually fun because I'll need to meet these walls so I can actually either break them down, go around them, or just, go through them. And right now there's a wall. So let me put the context. Where is this question coming from? I am a huge fan of personal development content, like reading books, reading articles, reading self-improvement, reading all this stuff about how to be better human being, etc., etc. And one of the key components of people who don't, why do I keep using the word believe? My mind just goes through it. People who don't think the personal development industry actually works is that it's a $1 billion company. It's meant to keep you stuck, which in a way, there's some truth in it. People keep producing all these books and all these articles about how you can be a better person, how you can make more money, how you can be sexier, how you can be happier. And I think Srini has this article where he keeps talking about, if you looked at his shelf, you would think that he was, he's a model, billionaire, Zen monk, because of all these book titles. I'll teach you to be rich. I'm not saying that that's a great book, by the way, but the titles and the books and the articles are usually put in such a way that it's expected that by the end of you reading the book, you become a better human being. And so God has been making me think about this, because I buy a lot of books and I read a lot of books, maybe not as much now as I used to. And I wonder, at what point do you read so much about being a better human being? Like, forget even the reading part. Let's say you read and you take action, you're improving and improving and improving, and you start figuring out these patterns of behavior. Like, oh yeah, I like For example, let's say me, I like writing, I like telling stories. I thrive in this kind of environment. This kind of environment is detrimental to my personality. What I've been thinking about this whole month, literally, it's like, at what point do you know yourself to the point where it becomes a disadvantage? Is it never? And when I say a point, like, not even, there's no scale to measure that. Like, there's no actual scale to that. Okay, when you get to this particular point, then it becomes detrimental. I'm just throwing it out there to think about the fact that sometimes, maybe, you don't have to know everything about who you are in order to have a happy life. And also, maybe you have to know what you're not good at and what is detrimental to your personality so you can work on it. Right? Let me see what Mr. Christian said. I think it's going to go into a very interesting direction. I like this. Look, being INFJ implies you're idealistic. That's the most common and main criteria. Here's the thing. Others tend to think INFJ and INFP, I think, are, those philosophers. I have a feeling there's a second part to this coming up. Right? I kept watching and reading about introverted feeling, and what I came to understand about INFP, and I guess is the they call it INX, like all the INX types. Jesus, I don't like that I don't know much about this thing. I think I'm going to invite Eric on the channel one day to talk about these things. He's so much authoritative on this subject that I'm like, yeah, I feel very ignorant right now. But yeah, the idea of philosophy, the idea of thinking, the idea of getting stuck in your head is something that I've been not even accused of. It's more like I've heard it so many times about me that I can no longer ignore it. That I'm stuck in my head. I have to be realistic. I need to think about the consequences. I need to take things into consideration. I've run away from this idea of being a INFP to the point where I just had to accept it. All right, fine. If this is what, never who, if this is where I fall, maybe I should learn more about it and see where my shortcomings are. And boy, did I see shortcomings. Like, it's one thing to think that you know yourself. It's another thing to see how, because you've behaved in a particular way in the past, you've brought yourself some kind of decisions. Let me take a big example. I am very optimistic, and I sometimes don't know how to say no. Not even sometimes. Like most of the time, when somebody asks me to do something, I'll say yes, and I'll not follow through, which is something that I've had to deal with. What's this? It's weird. Something that I've had to deal with, and this whole situation, I don't know where this live is going today. That somehow can sound negative. I'll just read the first and the bottom. Look, being INFJ implies that you're idealistic. That's the most common and main criteria. Here's the thing. Others tend to think INFJ and INFP as thinkers, those philosophers. That somehow can sound negative when this remark comes out from others, but it's actually a strength. It means you can take time to entirely process every problem you might face and take the best option, I guess. That's I agree with you. It means that you probably think through things, which is something that I do. But I can see how in the past for me, this has not worked out great because I did not, let me say, in the initial phases of the thought process, I did not say, hey, I need to think about this thing. Or this is actually, I think this is the fun part. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to process things before I come to a conclusion, which can be unnerving to probably other personality types. So it's complex. I think that's the beauty of life. You never know. Like, you're never certain about anything in life, generally speaking, overall, except the fact that we're going to die eventually. And this process of discovery, which I think should happen for the rest of our lives, where, I guess, who you were when you were 12 is not who you are now. Right? And I'm thinking that when you have this knowledge and this self-understanding of yeah, this is like my daily living. This is like my default state. I'm sitting quietly and I'm going through all these things in my head. And you can look at me like, hey, what's up? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. And it's like there's a war happening in my head. Yeah. So what somehow can sound negative when this remark comes out from others, but it's actually a strength. It means you can take time to entirely process every problem you might face and take the best decision for the future. If you don't get what I'm talking about, please look back at Doctor Strange in the MCU. Right? This is the only way. Like what? How can it be the only way? I mean, it turned out, spoiler alert for those who have. I mean, what was spoiler? I'm not going to talk about it. No, I'm not talking about the Avengers today. But yeah, I used to look at it as a strength, and I still do in many ways. It's just one of those things I'm finding. Like when I put myself in other people's shoes, which sometimes I try to do now, I can see how inconvenient that could be. To have to deal with somebody who has to take forever to make a decision, you're like, why just? It's just food. No, it's not just food for me. I'm feeding my body. I need an amount of starch, carbs, starch is carbs, veggies, protein. For you, it's simple. It's food. For me, it's not. And people don't get that. It's not just food. It's not just a restaurant. It's not just travel. It's not just a job. It's not just a career. For me, things are not just that simple. And those who get it do get it. Like the people that I call friends today are people who actually get it. And that's the thing. People can look at I guess INX types, and I'm like, you guys are so boring. You have nothing happening in your life. You're always just quiet and reserved and introverted and shy, which introverted doesn't mean shy. And when I look to jobs that I've had in the past where I wasn't that introverted and shy, I'm like, I was in my element. Like when I worked at IA, which is one of the things that one of the landmarks of my, I guess, my profession career path, which really changed the way I saw not just poetry, but event management and performance and community building. I can see a version of me that thrived in an environment that people would probably think that I was an extrovert or I was, I don't know, something else. But I'm not. I am on the introverted scale, which doesn't mean that you don't like people. It just means that you have a richer inner world and you get energy from interacting with your world in your head. But people will think that is because you don't want to see people, which is not the same case. This stream today is going all over the place, and I'm enjoying it because April has been a very crazy month for me. I'm still struggling to adjust to my new work schedule. I work 10 hours a day, which is something that I've done a few times in the past, but not as much as I've done recently. And I usually when I finish work, I want to, study or read or play video games or just hang out. But I'm having a hard time doing that because I'm so tired. My brain is broken. And I'm just like, am I going to? So I stay up just in between being awake and being asleep. And I know that the smart thing to do would be to just go to bed. But I don't. And every morning I wake up and I say, today is the day. I am going to go to bed as soon as I finish work. It's going to happen today. And it never happens. At least not yet. But what I've been trying to do now this month of April is to look at the things that actually move the needle. Like, okay, I'm not doing that well overall. What are the things I can actually focus on? Because I think it's easy to try to do everything. Maybe not easy, but we stay busy doing all the things. Doing all the things that, let me say, for example, you have to take a trip, right? The important things of the trip is probably your destination, maybe your airplane ticket if you're taking a flight, or make sure that there's gas in the car so you can drive. Like, make sure you have somebody who can drive you there if you cannot drive. Like, there are things that actually move the needle. There are things that actually affect the decision. Now, the problem is sometimes we spend time washing the car, picking the dress we're going to wear, especially if the dress is not going to be important. Cleaning the car, the inside, cleaning the tires, I don't know. We do all these things that are not necessary. And then when I look at my day to day, generally speaking, I do a lot of things that are necessary. And this month, I'll be like, I'm going to do only the necessary things. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to rest, or at least try to rest. I'm going to take care of my inner world. So yesterday I watched Godzilla versus Kong, which I thought was I don't know. Has anybody watched a movie? Because I have mixed feelings about a particular movie. There was one scene though. There was one scene that made me cry. I like when a movie makes me cry. Let me see what Bessie said here. You will get used to it. It needs time for you to get the balance right. Right? I wonder if we actually ever get balance in life. You know, this whole idea of work-life balance. At some point, I think I even wrote an article about this, like 2014, 15, I'm not sure. 2017, I think, where I was like, work-life balance, not for me. I don't think you can get work-life balance. I don't think you can even get life balance. I feel like you have to prioritize certain things. You have to prioritize things. For example, right? If you're a stay-at-home mom, and no, that's a bad example. I don't have the context. If you are a creative storyteller person and you want to build a career as a creative storyteller person, there will be times when you have to work really hard without the kind of results that people will see, whether it's views, subscribers, money. There will be times where you have to really double down and put out content, lots of it. And if you're trying to balance, like, okay, I'm going to sleep some of hours, I'm going to write some of hours, I'm going to see my friends, I'm going to, I guess, as I'm thinking about it, I think balance comes with you prioritizing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave this thing from the table because you can't do everything. Some things you would fail. But I get what you're saying, Bessie. I'm not saying that you're like, you know, finding that balance of, okay, this is the amount of sleep that I need, this amount of energy that I need, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. This might increase your self-confidence, you know, when you say, I'm listening to my gut. My gut has one thing that I saw in a video. I guess that's why I'm going through this process and I'm having a sort of mental low right now in terms of my gut, is the whole idea of disappointing people. The whole idea of disappointing people, right? I'm going to make a couple of calls this weekend. I've actually called the people. I'm like, hey, let's talk so I can actually turn down some projects that I was supposed to be working on, that I was like, yeah, I'm going to work on this. This is great. But then I've looked back at the different times that I've said that. I'm like, I bite more than I can chew. I take more projects than I should be taking because I'm optimistic that they're going to work out. And until I saw this video to realize that it was an INFP thing, I thought it was just like me. Then I realized, like, no, actually, no. I think about the future and I'm like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be this is what could be possible. But then I don't think about the reality, which is I don't have enough time. I might not be the best person for the job. And the timelines are pretty strict. And so I have to call these people and be like, hey, you know how I said I was going to do this thing? I'm sorry, I can't. And it's going to be, one of the things about INFP is that we don't like confrontation. It's something that I realized too. Like, we don't like confrontation, but I think, like Christian's just said right now, we have a dark side, which when pushed, this is the thing about this whole personality thing. It's not that you're one thing. You have these basic building blocks of this thing, but all of us, every human being has aspects of all the 16 personality types. Or is it the 4 elements? I don't know which elements. Sorry, I don't even know these things. So I have seen myself not wanting confrontation for a long time. And then getting pushed to the point where the only thing I want to do is to confront. Like, I've seen the dark side of that. And it's not fun. Yeah. On the other hand, there's a dark side, you know, when the tree-shaped thinking starts, but not when it's going to end. Yeah. Especially when it's like thinking about what could go wrong, and you end up in a position where you're like, why am I even doing this thing? What is this going to happen? What is the point? Like, one of the videos that I saw about let me see. One of the videos that I saw from this guy who does INFP, he does INFP and ENFP videos. He helps them with career choices. You know, he just coaches. He's a coach. And one of the things that he said was about he gave something about careers. He said Save as much as you spend, because the worst thing that could happen to an INFP is to be stuck in a job that they don't enjoy and they cannot leave because that's what they use. They have to pay their bills. And when I watched, I was like, dang, this is because INFPs are like INFJs. I think the INs are very idealistic. Like, look at the world, what could be possible, and they want to do all these great things, change the world. How? I don't know, but something is wrong. Let's change it. And so when I watched that video, because I'm looking at videos at how to actually fix the weaknesses, not necessarily the strengths. For some reason, today this music is making me irritated. It's like it's distracting me. So I'm just going to turn it off. But yeah, that's a struggle that I'm going through this Friday morning / end of April, about knowing myself enough to take action that could improve the outcomes of my existence versus ignoring the weaknesses that have brought me to this position. Probably don't know. But it's just that feeling of, what am I doing that is actually stopping me from growing as an individual? What do I know about myself that is stopping me from growing as an individual? Because if, like what Mr. Christian said, if you see yourself as a philosopher type and you embrace it and you acknowledge it and you're awesome at it, there will be times when, right? There'll be times when you have to, I've lost my train of thought because I'm reading the comment. Let me just go to the comment. At this point, you know that you have to work on yourself, learn to be concise and sharp, using the right words to explain exactly what you mean. Believe me, that's a struggle. That's why I love to write. Because when I write, I can go and edit. I can read the sentence again. I'm like, all right, this doesn't make sense. Let me fix that. But when you're speaking and you're going through the process of processing things, when you're processing the things that you want to say, look at what just happened. If I was writing, you would never see that. You will see me when you're processing the thing. So creative expression for some people is not just something that they love, it's something that they need. There are people who cannot survive, like me. If you take away writing, I've not been able to publish anything on Medium because I'm processing a lot of things in my life. But I write in my journal. I write things to do per day. I have like my list of things to do here. I have my other journal that I just write. Writing for me, as a form of my identity, I've realized is how I actually take out things from my head that can be overwhelming and put them on a place where I can see and then rearrange and make decisions that are much more realistic. I noticed too that when I don't make schedules for like phone calls that I need to make, I forget them. Like, I just don't remember. I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to call this person 3 months ago. And yeah, it's not fun to have to deal with that. But the cool thing about all of this, the reason why I'm enjoying this life, even though it's putting me in a very uncomfortable position about what I know versus what I don't know versus what I need to do, is that going through this process, like what is on the screen right now, the comment from Christian said, like, this is part of the growth process, because I know 100% that I will look back. Oh yes, thank you for the comment. Let me clarify. What I was saying is, I will look back to this video and be like, dang, Kamga, you were so confused. And which is part of the growth process. I think this is one of the reasons why everybody should have a blog or YouTube, because you would see yourself progress over time. Hey, Kamga, kudos. You've been doing great. Can you just clarify about the meaning of INFJ? Ansem, yes, I can do that. So what I'm going to do, because I don't know much about this, is that I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what this whole thing means. All right, let me just put up. Yeah, let me share my screen. I think that'll be fun. I've not done this in a while, sharing my screen and showing stuff. So where is that share screen thing? Share screen, stop screen. Okay, I'm stop that sharing there. And then I'll share another screen. This should clarify. I think I'm going to read a little bit about it. I hope What is that thing? MBTI meaning? Yes, this is sure. So I think by now you should see my face and the screen. Are you able to see both? Can you see a little bit? My screen is a little bit wide, so sadly you see it more than you need to see on this whole situation. Let me zoom it in. I think that should help. Beep, 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 beep. I think this is much better. Yes. Let me know if you're seeing my screen clearly so that I can continue reading. I mean, I'll come back to the comments eventually once I do this thing. So, so what I'm talking about, the INFP, INFJ, whatever. What does MBTI stand for? Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, tool which frequently used to help individuals understand their own communication preference and how they interact with others. I never know that this was a definition. Anyway, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is an introspective self-reporting questionnaire indicating differing psychological preferences in how people perceive the world and make decisions. This test attempts to assign 4 categories: introversion or extraversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. So the MBTI types. So what I'm talking about, what I've been saying all along, was this whole type thing is you have the ISTJ. Like, trust me, when I heard about these personality types, I've known about these things for years, like at least 5 years. I've known about it, but it's always one of those things. I'm like, this thing doesn't apply to me. I'm too special. I'm Kamga Masa. Like, why would this stop? So I feel like I am becoming one of these people who are very passionate about this thing, and I don't like how that's making me feel, because the truth is, my mind knows that, or is it my heart? I don't know, one of them. My heart knows that there's some truth here. My mind is fighting and like, no, it doesn't apply to you because these personality things don't exist. They're not real. People are unique and they're different. So I'm having this conflict of, this is true, or at least some of it is true. And also you're unique, so you should not rely on this thing too much. So there's that fine balance of knowing enough to make a decision without taking the whole thing and be like, this is the only truth that exists. I don't know if what I'm saying actually makes sense. But anyway, the MBTI types, let's see if we can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there are, let me see if there's, let's open this and see if there's more. So this is an overview. I'm trying to find types right here. Okay. So these are the types. These are all the types that I'm talking about. Yeah, right here. So ISTI, ISTP, ISFI, etc. So mine is what? This is mine here. According to the test that I did. I used to think I was this. But then after multiple interactions with a friend who is very, very knowledgeable in this whole subject, he's literally like, he's very good. He's done a lot of studies. He's very scientific in his approach. He pointed out that the way I sound, the way I think, the way I talk, and all these things, I am probably this. So I did the test a couple of times. I took the free test. There's a free test online, they can do it. It's not very reliable. Let me put it out there. It's not very reliable. It's not very reliable, but it gives you an idea. And the reason why I'm getting a lot into this whole personality testing is because I don't think you only have one personality, or that if you're, I don't know, INFP, then you're stuck for the rest of your life. The way I'm approaching this, which is what is getting me to at least lean more towards, is that we all have basic blocks. Like if you look at children, you can see children who are more outgoing and others who just prefer to stay home. Yes, you can factor in things like upbringing and just the way they are at home, the way the parents interact with them. We all have a way that we can put, for example, the whole introversion extroversion scale. You have people who are more outgoing, who find energy from interacting with others, and you have people who find energy from interacting with just themselves. So there is a scale that we all fall into. And in Ayodeji's book, Ayodeji Awosika, he wrote about, there was a whole thing about finding your strength, the whole chapter on finding your strength. And he used the test as one of the ways to do that. And I think it's a good place. If you don't know who you are, if you're wondering what your passion is, if you're wondering, your behavior, like, why am I doing this thing this way? Why am I doing that? The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is a good place to start, not to just take as rule of law and go. I keep saying that because my big problem with this test was that I kept thinking, oh, if I'm this particular type, then that's it. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be this. And What am I going to do now? So part of me did not even want to know because I didn't want to lock myself in a box. But now that I have a different perspective, my perspective is if I can find out on this scale where I lie, then I can see what I can do to improve my odds of success based on where I lie on the scale. For example, let's go a little bit deeper into the INFP, which is my type. Let's see if there's any, I don't know, links trying to, let's go to tips for interacting in personal relationships, cognitive functions, key INFP characteristics. All right, let's just read this once today. We're doing an INFP live stream. INFPs tend to be introverted, quiet, and reserved. Being in social situations tend to drain their energy and they prefer interacting with a select group of close friends. If I just stop here, right, there's something that I kept saying that I noticed. There's a WhatsApp group that I left. Actually, I think I've left almost every single WhatsApp group I've gotten into because I used to say this thing a lot without even knowing this characteristics of this INFP. I used to say, I don't know how to interact with people in a group. Like, I don't know how to deal with people in a group because I like to deal with people one by one. When I started reading about this thing, I realized, dang, this is me. And this is annoying because it's true. And so my question is, how do I work on this? Do I work on it or do I just leverage it? Because I find that when your name pops up, like literally, this is something that happens to me. I cannot even believe how true it is. When your name pops up on the screen, right? When you leave a comment, my mind almost automatically goes to a conversation that we've had, an interaction that we've had. So I place you as you. I find it difficult to say the people in the comments or the subscribers because I just cannot. I find it difficult. It's almost impossible for me to look at a group or to interact with people as a group. Like even when I was working as an event manager, and I'm getting very passionate about this, I found it very difficult to say you all or you people, you guys. I have individual connections, which for people is very stressful. For me, it's not. I find it difficult to interact with people as a group. I build independent individual connection, which means that first of all, I cannot have many close friends, which is something that I've struggled with. I used to be like, oh, I don't have friends, or I know many people, but I don't have many friends. And I used to feel bad about it. But now I'm like, it's because I find it difficult to have strong relationships with individuals on a large scale. So even when I look at social media doesn't work with people like me because I will make a video with one particular person in mind. It might appeal to many people, but I find it difficult to have the same relationship with a group. And that's just one sentence. And I started reading it now, it's just annoying me because I haven't read this particular one. While they like to be alone, they should not necessarily be confused with shyness. Case in point, I am introverted and I like to be by myself, but here I am making a video on YouTube, which I know would be on the internet for a long time. People will see. There's a difference between introversion and shyness. And yeah, people don't get that. Instead, it simply means that INFPs gain energy from spending time alone. On the other hand, they have to expend energy in social situations. If you ask me if we should go to a party or stay home, probably 100% of the time, I'm going to say stay home. But if I want to go to the party, I need to know probably everybody in that party at an individual level. INFPs typically rely on intuition and are more focused on the big picture rather than the nitty-gritty details. And you can see it on my day-to-day. This is the annoying thing about when you find a personality type. It's like you start realizing where you're missing out. For me, it's like if I keep thinking about the big picture, like, oh yeah, this could be possible. I could get into this career field. I could build this channel this way. And I don't look at, okay, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do this week or next week? Like if I don't force myself to become more structured, then all these dreams and ideas that I have are not going to work out. And that's the thing about this whole personality thing, because for me, it's about knowing my weaknesses and leveraging them. It's true, focus on your strengths, they grow when it comes to like, talent and things like that. But if you are a talented writer, say you're an INFP, and you're thinking about the beautiful story in your mind and you never put the structures to write it down, then you'll never do it. And that's one of my biggest fears, of dying without fulfilling my potential. Let me jump in here. Hello. Okay, you're saying yes to being able to see my screen, right? I hope. Yeah, that was it. Let me zoom that on again. 16 types. You see, I don't even know the types. You should jump in here and actually help me out with this. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Hamlet. Welcome to the stream, my brother. It's been a minute. Today, I'm doing a frustrated live stream on personality types because I've honed in on mine and I've been struggling with this for, I guess, the whole month of April, which is part of why I haven't posted the videos. The title of this stream was Plus. Why haven't you posted videos on April, bro? Got a new work schedule, been struggling with figuring out my weaknesses as an INFP, and I just took time to just take care of myself, just do my job, eat right, sleep, watch some movies, and just not spiral into a dark thought pattern. So Ansem asked what the 16 personality types were. So I was going through this to just describe a little bit what it was, going through my key characteristics for my INFP. So they can be quite meticulous about things they really care about or projects they're working on, but tend to ignore mundane or boring details. When I get interested in something, and I've seen this happen too many times, and that's why I'm not sure, INFPs can know a lot about a lot of other things because they get passionate about specific things, delve into it, get a lot of information, maybe they consume a lot, and then they get out and they never do anything because they're too idealistic and they think about the big picture instead of taking the structure to get anything done. So you end up with somebody who knows a lot of things, but has never done anything well. And for me, that's the scariest thing I can have in my life. I don't want that. INFPs place an emphasis on personal feelings, and their decisions are more influenced by these concerns rather than the objective of information. This right here is the problem with INFPs. The way you feel about things helps you make decisions which may not be objective. For example, typical example, I was thinking between two different career paths, and a friend brought the case for one. It was like, oh, this is something I could do. This is why you could do it. This is how much you could make. This is why it could work. And I was like, I don't feel it. Until this day, he doesn't understand. And I also understand why. He doesn't understand why I said that. And for me, it made perfect sense. Well, I don't feel it. It's like, but what do you mean you don't feel it? It's just a career. It's something that you do for a living. It's something that you take and you do. Like, what do you mean you don't feel it? And so when I said that at the time, I did not really consider. But now as I read these things, I see like, yeah, I can see how somebody on the other end of this conversation saying, for example, I think we should go to this place. Here's what I've done. Here's the pros. Here's the cons. Here's a reason why you should not do it. Here's a reason why you should do it. And I'll be like, all right, I hear you, but I don't feel that as a good decision. Doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to me, which is something that I need to work on. When it comes to making decisions, INFPs like to keep their options open. They often delay making important decisions just in case something about the situation changes. When decisions are made, they're usually based on personal values rather than logic. 100%. I'm going to read the strengths and weaknesses and then come back to the stream. So strengths: loyal and devoted, sensitive to feelings. This one. On the other side, he tends to take everything personally. It's like I'm exposing myself to the internet, right? I feel naked because caring and interested in others works well alone. This right here is something that people don't get. If we're doing a group project, I'm more likely to do the project alone and then have everybody like, okay, yeah, this is what we're supposed to do. So I'm going to do it alone and just pass it. Like, people should just leave me alone. Let me do it. And in instances, this could be great, but I can see how in the real world, you cannot do anything alone. I might work well alone, but nobody accomplishes anything alone. So that's something I need to work on, even though it's a strength. Values close relationships. This stream today was supposed to be the things that I miss the most about Cameroon. And one of the things that I miss the most about Cameroon are my siblings and parents and my friends. It's not the food, it's not the location, it's not the weather. It's the people that I invested so much time in to build a relationship with that I cannot have that on a regular basis anymore. And even now, people that I talk to on a nearly daily basis who are not here are my close friends that I've known for years, like my best friend T. I've known T since 2005. 2006? Yeah. And one thing that I realized too was that I am probably not going to make any more friends till the day I die because it takes too much for me to get invested in close relationships. And it's something that I have to feel that you are also invested in. Like, it just ties all in. I cannot be friends with you if you don't want to be friends with me. However, if you actually are open to be friends with me, I will invest in the relationship. I'll be devoted and loyal. And I'll be with you until I feel that something is not right. Oh man, good at seeing the big picture. Yeah, this is great to look at the future, what could be possible, but not so great when certain things happen. Can be overly idealistic. Guilty. tend to take everything personally. You should see the way I struggle with my comments on YouTube. Like, I mean, I wrote an article about the Fisherman's Diary a while back. I actually made a video to apologize for that article because I took the comments personally. Difficult to get to know. I don't know how I feel about this one, but I think it's true because it takes a while for me to open up to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, even to my parents. It doesn't matter. Like, it takes a while, and people don't have the patience to do that. Sometimes loses sight of the little things. 100% overlooks details. 100%. So that's going to be it for this session of INFP type. But yeah. So what are your thoughts? Do you have any questions? We're actually wrapping up. I need to start working like an hour. So yeah. This is the end of this session of life with an INFP. That's how I'm calling it. Oh man. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think this is true for me based on what you've seen? Anselm, did it help to understand the Myers-Briggs type indicator a little bit better? Or was I just talking nonsense? I think we got disconnected a little bit. All right, awesome. So it sure did. Good to know. Yeah. So good to wrap this up. It's been a couple of minutes rambling about this. But you know what I actually enjoy about this, and what I think, if there's one thing that I'm hoping that I can share with this live stream, is that when I found out at the beginning of this month that I was having a hard time deal with certain things. What I decided to do, let me put one of my favorite songs so far here. Nah. First time hearing about the concept, but definitely do some research about for my own personality. Yeah, the free tests that you can take online, I think they give you a pretty good ballpark. There's some paid tests. I haven't taken any paid tests, so who knows? I could be completely wrong for my own personality type. But yeah, completely naked. It took me 7 months to accept it. The MBTI results are scary and dangerous, especially when someone else knows your type. Bro, you know, I think it goes both ways. I've seen, I'm going to talk about this in a couple of months when a lot of things are settled down, but I've seen what can happen when somebody doesn't know your type, how much conflict it can cause in your communication style. It's, dang, it's just thinking about it. I'm like, when somebody doesn't know how you talk, like, take for example me, right? Take me. The last thing you want to tell an INFP, from what I found out, is that it doesn't matter how you feel, just do it. On the one hand, you have, INFP, don't take things so seriously. But if you don't know you're dealing with an INFP, and you tell them that, what is going to happen is that they're not going to say anything. Like someone like me, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to, unless you push the limit. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say anything. I'll just Take that piece of information about you and just keep it. And then I'll make decisions not based on that information, which is that I will either stop listening to you, stop sharing my perspective with you, or just reduce my interaction with you as much as possible. Which is not, I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but it's my way of dealing with the fact that you don't agree with my view that feelings matter. And many people don't get it. Most people actually get it. In fact, the sad thing actually about being an INFP is that we are, 2 to 5% of the population. So while I was doing this research, I was like, probably I'm wrong. I cannot be that unique. It cannot be that rare to be like me. But the more I see it, the sadder I become. And I've seen it in so many scenarios, whether it's with my dad, my mom, my siblings. I've seen too much evidence to ignore this. So yeah. So at what point does knowing yourself become a disadvantage? If I had to answer the question, it would be at the point where you don't do something about it to either improve your life or make things easier for yourself and the people you care about. That's the way I want to answer that question, because knowing, your Myers-Briggs types, whether you're introvert and an extrovert, if you know all these things and you don't use the information to make better decisions, then it's too much. I think that's it. There's no scale of too much knowledge, too much information. It's now that you know who you are, or at least where you start, what have you done about it? For me, I have chosen to take the month of April off without making any announcements on YouTube, without saying anything. And part of me felt bad because people still watch videos and leave comments. And I had this personal policy that I want to reply to every comment, but I got overwhelmed, man. I could not do it. I just couldn't. And so I chose to just stay away and just take care of myself, bro. Just relax. And be like, April, you're going to be the month of me just like, hey, let's make this an experiment. What will happen if I don't post videos on my channel for a month and just do my live streams? Would anything change? I just said take it as an experiment. And so far, I like where it's going. It's like I've removed myself from this whole numbers thing. Like, oh, my views are down, this is up. And like, yeah, no, my health, my well-being, my sense of self is more important than vanity metrics on the internet. And this is the cool part. Let me end this with this. The coolest part is that every time that I turn on my camera and come live, there are people who are watching and interacting with me. And if you know, part of my INFP type is that to have people like that who show up, like Christian Cedric and Bessie Gray and Clive and Liz and all these people who show up every single time to watch me, who leave comments like Shanti Bloom. People like that basically go to let me know that these my feelings of, oh, I'm not doing enough, I'm not working hard enough, I'm making enough videos, I'm not posting videos. That's just stupid. Like, there are people who actually care. And that's nice. It's a very, very nice feeling to have. Like, even my mom, my mom, there used to be a time when I was wondering, like, is my mom watching my videos? My mom reached out to me like, hey, you haven't posted any videos. What's up? And I was like, I didn't know you watched my videos. I'm like, no, mom, I'm just tired. I just took time off. Like, oh, okay. All right. Like, I had no idea my mom was watching my videos. People would think that your parents or your family should be watching your videos, but I guess I crossed that threshold where I was expecting them to watch a video. So when they watch the video, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. And if my mom, who is not very technologically advanced, watches my videos and she doesn't have to leave a comment, she just has to tell me that she watches the videos, that's a lot. For me to show up here on Fridays for 1 hour, that's a long time. That's 60 minutes. And you're hanging out with me. That is a lot. So this idea of feeling bad, oh, I don't have views, I don't have subscribers, I don't have people watching me. Like, nah, bruh. And I'm saying that to myself, like, nah, Kamga, you're fine. Like, you're good. You can improve, but you're good. And so, yeah, it's on this note that I'm going to end this stream today and just Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you haven't liked the video yet, hey, go and like the video. If you're watching the replay and you haven't subscribed to the video, first of all, you've taken 1 hour to watch this whole replay. That is a lot of time. So you might as well just subscribe. All right. And if you want to support the channel, you can become a member of the channel. There's a join button there. Or you can go to this right here, Patreon, where you can support me for as little as $3 a month. That's like 1.5 Cameroon francs. So yeah, I already have 7 patrons there. Pretty cool people. I have a Discord. I try to animate it and be active in there, but the people who are there don't really care. They just want to support me. So if you want to join the crew, the Patreon is there. Patreon.com/Kamga Tchassa. You see all the information. You see a video about me. And yeah, it's really nice hanging out. So thank you for being here. This April is my month of reflection and just relaxation. And I don't want to give any promises for the next month. What I know is that I've given myself a personal timeline to just not get this over with, more like just deal with it and accept it and face it and just be there and just not avoid the thing. Just do the thing. All right. So thank you. Les appeared and disappeared. Bessie Gray. Yes, makeup. That's what I meant. Christian Cedric, the MVP of the Friday streams. Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you. Bessie. Thank you. Ansem asked about the MBTI and I did the share screen thingy. So that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, I feel pretty. I have some songs on Music Bay that I really like. This is one of the songs. So I'm going to leave this one playing in the background of it. Hey, Gina. Came to say hi. Thank you. The stream is ending. It's past the hour. Have some fun here talking about personality types. You can always go and watch the replay if you have time. And thanks for hopping in. Appreciate you. So yeah, I'll definitely see you next Friday. We still have a week into April, so if you watch the video, you know that there's a very high chance I'm not going to publish a video this week either. So stay around. I'm not going anywhere, at least by God's grace. And yeah, good to be around. Definitely going to be around. So I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream. Every Friday, probably for the rest of my life. Let me not go ahead of myself. You know, this whole INFP thing, we think ahead, we think too much. But the streams on Fridays, until further notice, on Fridays at 9:30 Mountain Standard Time. It's 1 hour. Sometimes stays longer than an hour because I get to enjoy the community. So yeah. See you around.
I love you.